display here tonight. I'll tell you what, you need to walk this long walk to get a sense for the magnitude of just how terrific you all look and what a wonderful occasion this is tonight. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you. We've got some folks I want to particularly introduce here. So if you just bear with me, we'll go through this. Wait till the end. I know you always do what you want to do, but do your best to try to obey the orders tonight. Wait till the end to applause, please. I'm going to run through our distinguished visitors rather quickly. Obviously, the 24th Secretary of Defense, Panetta, sir, we'll come back to you here in a minute. Don't clap. 75th Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Ray Amos and his wife, Lynn. The Chief of Naval Operations, Johnny Greenert, and Darlene. Good to have you here, Johnny. Congressman Darrell Issa and Kathy, right over here from Southern California. Assistant Commandant General Joe Dunford and his bride Ellen, right over at this table. The 17th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Michael Barrett, and his wife Susan, right there at the back table. The Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Phil Breedlove, and his bride, Cindy. Good to have you here, Phil. Under Secretary of Defense Bob Hale and Susan. I didn't see you, Bob, but you're here somewhere, I know. He's the comptroller, so treat him really nicely tonight, okay? The NASA, head of NASA, National Aerospace Administration, General Charlie Panther Bolden. Charlie's here, and his lovely bride. They are Panther and Jackie are here. The Undersecretary Bob Work of the Navy and Cassandra are here. The Undersecretary of the Air Force, Aaron Connaughton, a secret admirer of the Marine Corps, and Mr. Scott Ford. Aaron, what's not to love about us, right? Mr. Jeremy Bash, from the Office of Secretary of Defense, and his wife Robin. It's good to have you here, Jeremy. And the Honorable Bill Livingood. Bill, where are you? I missed you. There he is right up front. It's good to have you here, sir. From the House of Representatives and his wife Marilyn. Mr. David Morris from the Senate Armed Services Committee. I saw David and his wife Mary here earlier, right over there. And Bob Simmons, the House Armed Services Committee, and Donna. Bob, where are you? All the way over there. Good to see you again. Mr. Tim Day, Marine philanthropist, and his wife Sandy. Good to have you here, sir. Mr. David McIntyre and his wife Kathy, President and CEO of TRICARE West. The Carmel High School class of 1964. You probably don't know. You don't care about that, do you? Shame on you. Shame on you. And last but not least, the First Lady of the United States Marine Corps, Bonnie Amos. Okay, folks, when we worked on that video for the last 6 or 7 months, Combat Camera did that for us. Sergeant Major Barrett and I had an opportunity to kind of put our fingerprints on it, and what we wanted to do was talk about that indomitable spirit of the Marine Corps. We want to be able to talk about it and be able to visually display it, because for 236 years that spirit has carried the Marine Corps from one battle to another, and it resides in those young men and women that are in the Helmand Province today. I promise you that. We have in our audience some of the heroes of that video, and I'd like them to stand, please. Major Justin Constantine. Justin, please stand. Staff Sergeant David Collins. Where are you, Staff Sergeant Collins? He's here somewhere. There he is. Staff Sergeant Collins, it's good to see you, brother. Sergeant Jason Thomas. Where are you, Sergeant Thomas? All the way over there. And last but not least, the newest member of the Amos family, my son Dakota Myers. Sergeant Dakota Myers. guests. There's probably 30 or 40% of you that have never been to a Marine Corps birthday ball, and you're wondering, what kind of organization is this that would celebrate its birthday? I promise you, there's no other organization, certainly in our country, that is quite as pedantic as we are and have been for 236 years. I was looking for just the right anecdotal story to tell you about our birthday celebration. And I was reminded of a piece of material that came to me many years ago. And we were able to find it. And this is written by a squad leader from 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, in the fight for 2nd Fallujah. The date is 10 November 2004 in Fallujah, Iraq. On day 4 of the attack into Fallujah, our platoon was tired, but focused. By morning, we were ready. Our minds were on the fight ahead, so that when we gathered at the lieutenant's map for the order, he paused, looked us each in the eye, and said, "Happy birthday, Marines." It caught us off guard. As we exchanged hugs and handshakes and backslaps, our pride swelled. As we stepped off in the attack and quickly met resistance, we thought we heard the Marines' hymn behind the sound of gunfire. Soon we realized we weren't imagining it at all. It was real. The psychological operations team nearby was playing the hymn on loudspeakers throughout Fallujah. This was a shot of adrenaline. As we fought house to house, many happy birthdays were exchanged. Hell of a way to spend our birthday. Other Marines should be so lucky, our platoon sergeant said. At the end of the day, our luck held out. The urban fight was exhausted, but the pride of being Marines, fighting on our sacred day, outweighed the fatigue. It wasn't until the next day that we would actually partake of our Marine Corps birthday cake tradition. Our company gunny had been delayed on his resupply run, but when he returned with more ammo, chow, and water, he gave our platoon sergeant what looked like a deli-made cake with cream cheese icing on top. Each platoon got a carrot cake for the belated birthday celebration. In our bullet-riddled and partially destroyed building, we huddled together as a family and feasted on a Marine Corps birthday cake that we would remember for the rest of our lives. You know, it's Sunday in Afghanistan right now. It's mid-morning, and Marines have been out since the sun came up. Their birthday celebration was 3 days early. But I promise you, in combat outposts in the far corners of the Helmand province, Marines stopped on November the 10th. Just like these Marines did in the heat of the Battle of Fallujah. They stopped in Afghanistan this week. Now, maybe they didn't have a carrot cake, although I will tell you, our cooks and our Marines with their MV-22s hauling it around are pretty creative. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit to find carrot cakes going to each platoon. But regardless, they would tear open that piece of tinfoil pound cake out of their MRE. They take some of that little packet of what we call bug juice, pour it in their canteen, shake it up, and they would celebrate the birthday. They'd pat each other on the back. They'd do just like these Marines did. And they'd say, "Happy birthday, Marines." It happens all over the world, and it's happened for 236 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor tonight to introduce our Secretary of Defense. I will tell you, he's been in the job now for four months, probably seems like an eternity, doesn't it? And I will tell you, it has been a joy from a service chief's perspective. He has put his arms and his heart and soul around the Department of Defense, and probably the toughest time our nation has faced with regards to its Department of Defense, with all that's going on. He brings his service chiefs in. We spend time with him. It's quality time. It's been a pleasure to have served with him these last 4 months. He comes from humble beginnings. His mother and father immigrated from Italy. They settled in Monterey. They opened up a restaurant. He worked in that restaurant. Eventually finishing school, becoming a captain in the United States Army. Served for 2 years. Came out, and his career has been in public service even before he became a captain, because when you're in the military, you are a public servant. He was a public servant and has been his entire life. Everything from being a congressman, serving for President Clinton as his chief of staff, director of Office of Management and Budget, director of the CIA when he personally directed the taking down of Osama bin Laden. And in spite of that, and his lovely wife Sylvia, they live in Carmel Valley, California, so you start to see the connection with Carmel High School. His lovely wife Sylvia is back at home. In spite of all of that, he agreed to become our Secretary of Defense. Now, I will tell you that there is a story. Remember, he was an intelligence officer for 2 years, and I went back. Mr. Secretary, I need your permission to be able to tell this, because this is, it has some implications here that could be international intrigue. But in May of 1963, it seems, an Army captain by the name of Alfred Svensson defected to East Germany, and he was an intelligence officer in the Army, and rumor has it that Captain Svensson got a set of orders to go work for Captain Panetta in his intelligence shop. He heard how tough he was, what a taskmaster he was, and said, I'll go to East Germany, it's got to be easier over there. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Leon Panetta.
General Amos, thank you for that very kind introduction. This is truly an honor to be here this evening and be able to enjoy this wonderful celebration of the birthday of the Marine Corps. And it's an honor for several reasons. First of all, because of this guy that just introduced me. I've had a chance to work alongside him these past months, and I've truly benefited from his advice and his counsel, his good humor, but most of all, he's got a great perspective of what our national security and our national defense needs, and I really appreciate it. By the way, if you didn't know it, this guy is celebrating his birthday today. Come on, guys, help me out here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amos. Happy birthday to you. It's also an honor for me to be here with another great Marine, somebody that I thank for his friendship, his counsel. He is my senior military assistant, Lieutenant General John Kelly. And he too has been a great friend, a great advisor, and somebody who comes with me on all of the trips, and he never ceases to help lift my spirits. And besides that, his name may be Kelly, but he's half Italian. So, most of all, I'm honored to be here because of all of you. The men and women of the Marine Corps are, I believe, one of the finest fighting forces on the face of the earth. You're fighters, you're warriors, most of all, you're Americans. You're brave, you're smart, you don't take any crap from anybody, and you're frankly the salt of the earth. There's a great story that I heard from one of General Amos's predecessors. It involved a group of Marines that were out on patrol in Iraq. These Marines came upon 3 men who were digging a hole along the side of the road, and obviously the Marines suspected the worst, and they spread out and approached them. And at that point, the individuals scattered and took off and disappeared. And a cart that they had that was being pulled by a donkey was there, loaded down with extra material. Well, a sergeant walked over to the donkey and unhitched the beast. And the donkey went trotting off, and the Marines followed the donkey. And sure enough, it led to a little mud hut, and there were the insurgents, and without firing a shot, they were able to bring the bombers to justice. They surrendered, and they brought them back to the base. And a delighted senior officer at that point praised them for their cleverness. And he asked one of the sergeants, "What on earth made you think to unhitch the donkey?" "Sir," the Marine replied, "I grew up on a farm. I enlisted at age 17. I've been following jackasses most of my life." Yes, indeed, salt of the earth. Most of all, I've come here really to thank all of you for your service, for your patriotism, and for being Marines. It is, as I said, an honor to be able to celebrate the 236th birthday of this great United States Marine Corps. And it's always an honor to be able to enjoy a piece of the Marine Corps birthday cake. I think I ate part of my office. It wasn't bad cake. This is a great tradition. And, you know, as General Amos pointed out, Marines all over the world enjoy the same moment, to take the time to eat a piece of cake and celebrate the birthday of the Corps. And it's something that wherever they're at, they're going to take that moment, even in the middle of battle, as the General pointed out, to be able to do that. I've always admired the Marines because of their respect for tradition and for their unyielding devotion to a set of bedrock values: honor, courage, and commitment, most of all to their fellow Marines. Tonight, I'd also like to focus on something that is equally important: toughness. As they say, Marines don't avoid hardship, they embrace it. My Italian father used to tell me, you've got to be tough. You've got to be tough in life to handle everything that life throws at you. And it's true. It takes a truly motivated individual, someone who can draw on that inner reserve, that inner mental fortitude to make it through the grueling challenge of the crucible. It takes something special in a person to earn the right to wear the eagle, the globe, and the anchor. It's that quality which reveals itself when the chips are down. It's measured by the stiffness of the spine. It's measured by the direction you face when the enemy's guns open up. And our enemies have learned time and time again that the reply to their guns when they're facing the U.S. Marines is that they start charging straight at you. And for the call, send in Marines, that call has echoed across the country's history. We've always sent in the Marines. They've been our shock troops. As you saw from the clip in the video, the darkest days of Pearl Harbor, pride of the fleet had been sunk. The country was reeling. America relied on the seasoned leathernecks, the old breed, to bring into battle a new generation of recruits. This old breed, one veteran wrote, were gamblers, drinkers, connivers, they were brawlers, and they had fought soldiers and sailors of every nationality and every bar from Brooklyn to Bangkok. These were my kind of people. It was those tough old salts, an old breed, along with a legion of new recruits who launched the first major counteroffensive in the Pacific, the island of Guadalcanal. They were led by Marines like Archer Vandergrift and Chesty Pulier. For months they fought in that small perimeter until they were able to break out. And in the skies above Guadalcanal, Marine pilots of the Cactus Air Force battled overwhelming odds in aerial combat against the Japanese. Marines like Joe Foss piloted those tubby old Wildcats. They weren't the best fighter planes in the world, but they could take a beating and keep flying. They had a .50 caliber machine gun that could saw a zero in half. And that's exactly what Joe Foss did. In 3 months, he shot 26 planes down in Guadalcanal. Tonight, we celebrate, obviously, that rich history and the proud traditions of the Marine Corps. We celebrate the Marines of the past. Particularly, we celebrate those of the present. Today's Marines were part of what I call the next greatest generation. Those who have served in the decade since 9/11. And they are symbolized by the courage of Sergeant Dakota Meyer, who's with us here this evening. The unique honor to pay tribute to him when he received